Young and the Restless next week spoilers. Kyle headed for trouble. Next week, on Young and the Restless, Kyle Abbott makes a choice that could change the course of his life. After the disastrous dinner with Victor Newman, Kyle decides to give Claire Newman a test to see if she's loyal to him or her grandpa. This could be a foolish move on Kyle's part because Claire certainly seems loyal to Kyle. She's doing everything she can to get Victor's approval. Plus, she promised she'd stay with him regardless of the mustache and his feelings. However, Kyle still tests her, and that may be their downfall on Young and the Restless. Claire Newman might be so furious with Kyle for not trusting her. Then if Claire pumps the brakes or ends their relationship, Sumner Newman will likely swoop in to comfort him and try to get him back. Y&R next week spoilers. Victor Newman makes a move. While Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, tests Claire Newman, Haley Aaron, her grandfather, Victor Newman, Eric Braden, uses his business status to help a friend. Next week, he pulls strings for Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, on Young and the Restless. She's back at her family business, Winters, plus, she and Victor just called a truce. So, he might want to make things up to Lily Winters by helping out her business. However, there's always a possibility that Victor has an ulterior motive on Young and the Restless. Surely, he will get something out of his good deed. After all, he doesn't do much that doesn't benefit him or his family in some way. Young and the Restless next week spoilers. Nate Hastings stands his ground. More Y&R spoilers show Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, making a vow to protect Amy Lewis, Valerie Pettiford. No doubt, from her angry son, Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers. Recently, Damian went to see Amy again at Nate's apartment. Of course, he only did it to appease Lily and so that she would go to dinner with him. She is also the only reason he and Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, are still in Genoa City. So during this next visit on Young and the Restless, Nate might not like how he is treating Amy. No doubt he will go up against his half-brother for her sake. Y&R is intense next week. Tune in to find out if Kyle Abbott pushes Claire away on the CBS daytime drama. Things in Genoa City are rarely quiet for long, and this week, all signs point to Kyle Abbott barreling straight into a storm he won't easily escape. After months of questionable decisions, romantic entanglements, and risky alliances, Kyle's arrogance may finally catch up to him. His latest moves have people whispering in the shadows of Jabot and beyond, and if he doesn't course correct soon, he could lose everything. His family, his job, and maybe even his son. A man on the edge. Kyle Abbott has always lived life in the fast lane. Charming, ambitious, and confident to a fault, he's used to getting what he wants, whether it's a promotion at Jabot or the attention of Genoa City's most desirable women. But lately, that charm has been cracking. Ever since his breakup with Summer, Kyle has seemed restless, almost reckless. His brief fling with Audra Charles didn't just raise eyebrows, it raised red flags. And now that Audra's loyalty is once again in question, Kyle might find himself entangled in a web of deceit that could strangle his career. Jack Abbott has done everything in his power to keep his son on the right track. But Kyle's ego and resentment toward his father's leadership at Jabot have been festering. Every time Jack tries to mentor him, Kyle sees it as an insult. He's convinced he knows best, even when his impulsive actions suggest otherwise. And now, word is spreading that Kyle is planning something drastic. A power move that could shake Jabot's foundations. A risky alliance. Audra has a way of pushing Kyle's buttons, and she knows exactly how to get what she wants. Despite her manipulative streak, she and Kyle share a certain chemistry. A dangerous combination of ambition and attraction. When Audra approaches Kyle with an idea that could change the game for both of them, his curiosity gets the better of him. She claims to have insider information that could give them leverage at Newman Media, and maybe even at Jabot. But Kyle knows Audra's history. She doesn't just play games, she builds them, one strategic move at a time. Still, he listens. Audra's words are intoxicating. You deserve more than scraps from your father's table, Kyle. You're an Abbott. Why should you always come second to Jack's golden boy routine? It's exactly the kind of flattery Kyle can't resist. And before long, he's considering her offer, not realizing that he's walking straight into a trap. Summer's warning. Meanwhile, Summer Newman senses something's off. Though she's tried to move forward with her life, part of her still cares about Kyle, and she can see that he's on a self-destructive path. When she hears whispers about his late-night meetings with Audra, she decides to confront him. Don't do this, Kyle. she warns him in the Jabot offices one evening. Audra doesn't care about you. She cares about power. And she'll use you to get it. But Kyle, ever the prideful Abbott, brushes her off. You don't know what you're talking about, Summer. I'm finally taking control of my life. Sinks. She's seen that look in his eyes before. The same one that led him into disaster during their marriage. She knows that when Kyle feels slighted, he acts out. And this time, his rebellion could cost him everything. Jack and Diane on alert. Back at the Abbott mansion, Diane Jenkins feels uneasy. She's noticed Kyle's erratic behavior and suspects that something bigger is going on. Diane may not have always been the most trustworthy mother, but she's protective of her son now, and her instincts are rarely wrong. When she mentions her concerns to Jack, he sighs, rubbing his temples. I've tried to talk to him, but he won't listen. He's convinced I'm holding him back. Jack can't shake the feeling that history is repeating itself. Years ago, Kyle's impulsiveness nearly destroyed his career and personal life. Now, it looks like he's heading down that same road again. Maybe it's time to let him learn the hard way, Diane says quietly. But Jack's eyes flash with pain. He's my son, Diane. I can't just stand by and watch him crash. Still, both of them know that Kyle's pride might make him unreachable. A brewing corporate war. Rumors start circulating that Kyle's been sharing insider information with Audra. Information that could compromise Jabot's upcoming deals. Billy Abbott, ever the opportunist, catches wind of the situation and warns Jack that Kyle's actions might have legal implications if the wrong parties find out. Watch your back, Jack, Billy says. If Kyle's really been feeding Audra info, this could turn into a corporate scandal. Jack doesn't want to believe it, but the evidence is mounting. A few missing files, a few suspicious meetings. Suddenly, Kyle's independence looks a lot like betrayal. When Jack confronts his son, the argument explodes. You think I'd betray this company? Kyle shouts. I think you're letting your ego cloud your judgment, Jack fires back. You're walking a dangerous line, Kyle, and I won't let you drag Jabot down with you. Kyle storms out, slamming the door behind him. But the damage is done. The rift between father and son has never felt wider. The fallout begins. As the tension reaches its breaking point, Audra starts to show her true colors. When Victor Newman gets wind of her and Kyle's scheming, he decides to intervene. After all, no one meddles in Newman business without consequences. Audra quickly distances herself from Kyle, throwing him under the bus to save her own skin. Kyle was the one pushing for this, she insists. I was just going along with his plan. Suddenly, Kyle finds himself isolated. His allies are gone, his reputation is in tatters, and even his family doesn't know if they can trust him. Summer tries to reach out one last time, but Kyle, too stubborn to admit he's been played, pushes her away. I don't need your pity, he says coldly. But when he's alone in his office, staring at the fallout of his own ambition, the weight of it all hits him. He's become the very thing he swore he'd never be, a pawn in someone else's game. What comes next? Now, with his career at Jabot hanging by a thread and his family relationships fractured, Kyle must make a choice. Does he fight to rebuild what he's broken, or double down on his independence, even if it means losing everything? Jack, ever the father, still holds out hope. He's an Abbott, Jack tells Diane quietly. He'll find his way back. He always does. But for the first time, Diane isn't so sure. If he keeps heading down this road, she says, there might not be a way back. As storm clouds gather over Genoa City, Kyle Abbott stands at a crossroads, torn between pride and redemption. And one thing's certain, in the world of the young and the restless, every choice comes with a price.